Amy Lee, that is gorgeous. And Amy Lee from the band Evanescence, welcome to the Beatles Fab Forum.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, now, you're going to be speaking with Dennis Elsis, that's me, and my co-host Bill Flanagan in just a moment. That song you played a lot during the Synthesis tour of a few years back, right?
Yeah, that's right. About it was 2018.
And now it's part of the big box set that you've released, if I have my facts correct, with Bitter Truth, the latest album. Is that
right?
Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, and I just got to have a little bit of a second moment because we just put it on streaming platforms a couple weeks ago.
But that song is not just a Beatles cover, beautiful Beatles cover, because you and the band love the song. That song means much more to you, right?
It does. I mean, it's funny. It's hard to talk about the Beatles. When somebody says, hey, you want to get on and talk about the Beatles? It's like, well, where do I begin? It's like, you want to talk about food or music in general, or something that's just so huge in your life. Like, how do I sum it up and pick, like, one thing? I was just asking management, I was like, how long do we have? Because I could go for, like, 45 minutes. But, yeah, the Beatles are a huge part of my life, as is true with so many people. And they most of all make me think of my family. My dad is a musician, was a DJ for many years, and taught all of us kids to play instruments, and family jam sessions playing Beatles songs, like, is part of my early childhood, teenhood, just like my life and all my family's life growing up. The Beatles were my little brother Robbie's absolute favorite band of all time. He was the biggest fan that I know. And he passed away in 2018. He had a long battle with severe epilepsy. And boy, we had a good time together, and we love him so much. And the Beatles is sort of our connection point with him. And that's a real special connection. So after he passed away, we were about halfway through the Synthesis tour. We sort of took a break, and it had gone really well, and we were about to start sort of the second chapter of the tour, and it was getting bigger, and things were weird for sure. I was going through like a existential moment. But what we wanted to do was pay homage to him somehow, in what we were doing, and decided that should be a Beatles cover. And we went back and forth between a whole lot of music. I mean, who doesn't love the Beatles? My guitar player, Troy, is another massive Beatles fan. So we had to talk about at least 8 or 9 songs before we finally landed on Across the Universe. But we did land there because it has such a beautiful, beautiful lyrical message. The Beatles are very spiritual for me, and were already, but even more so now. And the melody and everything, just I sat at the piano and started playing with it, and it just, I don't know, started finding my voice in it right away, and it was what I wanted to do.
Well, you
so
did
yeah, we did that as an homage to him. Yeah, go ahead.
A beautiful job, Amy. And one of the things that struck me when I heard it was that John Lennon sang "Nothing's Going to Change My World" kind of passively, like he was just stating a simple truth. You sing it with defiance, like you are willing it to be true, like you are fighting that nothing's going to change your world. Did you find, I'm sure you've heard the song your whole life. Did singing it lead you to find something in it that you didn't know from listening to it?
Great music does that, like it can change with you as you go through different things. Like, so it has taken on a new meaning for me, in this time. And when I sing the words, nothing's going to change my world, what it means to me is nothing can tear us apart. Nothing. Right. Not even death. Love is the most powerful thing in the universe, bigger than death, and I get lost in that song when I sing it. I feel that truth. My favorite line is limitless, undying love, which shines around like a million suns, calls on across the universe. That part. Every night when we were on stage, I could just when everything was going right. Everything was going right. That part, I just hear and feel and see those words come to life. That's me and him and you and us and everything connecting across space and time across the universe, the stars in the sky, the sea of phone lights glowing like souls in the dark. It's all one thing. And I feel this cool spiritual connection that is just a beautiful, happy thing. The thing about doing something when you're paying homage to someone you've lost, like, yeah, it's sad, but the bigger part of it is the love, right? The thing that lasts, the thing that lives on beyond it all. And more than anything, just makes me feel grateful to be alive, to have love, to have been loved. That's what it feels like, everything at once.
Well, that's right. That's the best compliment you could pay to what John Lennon did with that song. And just what you were saying reminds me of a Graham Greene line, which is that love is the only emotion that doesn't fade with time. Love is the only emotion that grows stronger over time. Now, before we played that, we brought you on by playing one of your big early hits, My Immortal, which is also a song about not being able to break the connection with a loved one who isn't there anymore. A very powerful idea and a very dramatic song. And your fans know that you lost your brother Robbie a couple of years ago. They also know you lost a sister in childhood. And I just wonder, and I think about this because of something that the Beatles talked about the fact that at a certain point in touring, they had the burden of the fact that they were almost treated like prophets. People who were ill, children who were sick were brought before them, and it was more than they could take on. And I just wonder if when you are bearing so much of yourself and making something so big and beautiful for millions of fans, is there a burden to it? Are there listeners who have lost loved ones who want to connect with you, want to talk with you, and you've touched their lives, you've given vocabulary to what they're going through, but it's also got to be kind of a drain on you sometimes to be in that position of people want to come up and share their grief with you.
Yeah, what a beautifully articulated question. It is a weight, but it's a beautiful gift as well. When I was young, that recording you just played is actually like something we recorded before we even got signed, and they ended up putting out the version that we recorded when we were teenagers, and I think that's my 19-year-old voice. And that song specifically has been such a song for people who have lost, or people that have just been through great obstacles in their life. And I remember when we were starting out and that song came out, it was 2003. So I was 21. Is that right? I think that's right. I was 21 and I was totally not ready for it yet. It was a lot to handle because when I'd been writing music and kind of working, it was like we were just making music to soothe our own souls and not thinking too far beyond that. I mean, we had dreams, but it wasn't like we really expected them to come true.
Yeah.
And then when it became that so quickly, at first it was hard, but over time, I never thought back then that I'd be here now. I just turned 40, by the way.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
You're just a kid. You're just a kid.
I know.
On the Beatles channel, 80 is our average.
I know. I never really could have envisioned being here now and having it mean anything close to what it's become. It means so much to me, and I recognize at this point that it's so much bigger than myself and the music that we've made. It has to do with soul connecting, making a connection with people on a level that you really can only make through artistic expression. And I appreciate that because I've been touched by other artists like the Beatles that have had such a huge impact in my life and helped me through things and done things for me even though I've never met them. I don't know them. There's definitely a place where, I know to draw the line. I'm not going to go trying to knock on their door. But
right.
You have a connection with people in the universe that, you don't actually know through things like this. And I've gotten to where I see that as the coolest part about my career. It really is an incredible gift to be able to be something for somebody that you don't even know, and you don't even necessarily know. I don't know everybody's experience and stuff, but that you could have somehow been a part of something that was there for them in a moment when they needed it. Been a part of a moment for them that was so impossibly hard that it would have been harder if they felt totally alone, but something in a piece of music or a piece of art helped them feel less alone in the universe. I think that in itself is just an incredible gift, and I don't take full credit for that. I feel like I've been given a gift to be a part of something and be a conduit for something that's greater than myself, which is just cooler than anything I could have plotted out myself.
We are the Beatles Fab Forum. We're talking to Amy Lee of Effervescence on the Beatles channel. And Amy, I don't know if anyone prepared you for this. I suspect not, but get ready. It's time for your Beatles Rorschach test, where I'm going to name a Beatles song, and you tell me what association or memory or, my associate, Dr. Frangione, has got his lab coat on and his chalkboard, and he's going to take some notes on your personality based on your response to these Beatles songs. Okay.
We don't judge. We don't judge.
I'm ready.
What do you think of when I say "when I'm 64"?
Oh, you couldn't have said something more. I have like a whole story on this. Do I have to only say one word, or can I tell you a story?
No. We are at your mercy. Whatever you want to do. Tell us the story.
Oh my God. Okay, well, so before I said like Beatles are like my family, like that's what that reminds me of, is like my early years in particular, like growing up. Okay, real quick, I'll make it as fast as I can. I'm the oldest, and most of my life growing up was me with my much younger 3 siblings, like teenage sister, and we all went to the same school. When I was probably 17 and they were from 5 to 10, we were in the school talent show. I wasn't in this with them. I did my own dramatic classical composition, prove myself all alone, playing instruments, like to nobody cared. But then their performance was my dad. It was when I'm 64, and my dad played the guitar, and my 3 siblings sang, and instead of the clarinet part, they played kazoo. It was the best part of the night. It was hilarious. I was in the crowd filming it. Actually, like, it's one of our favorite, like, family home videos. The camera's, like, shaking the whole time because I'm trying not to explode laughing. It's the cutest thing ever. That song is precious. You said that.
Well, now I have to mention, as you said in passing, your dad was a DJ and a musician and a performer. And did he give you any warnings about the music business when you said, I'm going into this as a job, as a career? Yeah. Did he say, oh, watch out? What did he tell you to watch out for?
Well, the number one thing was like, that's awesome, have fun, be in a band. Like, yeah, sure, cool, but keep up your studies because, like, that's not probably going to happen. So, have a backup plan for when you don't make it. Of course, when I did, my parents were, beaming with pride, so supportive and excited. My dad tried to make it, and it didn't work out great for him, but he's always kind of said like, he got to live vicariously through me because he gets to stay home and just like, listen to the music and read interviews and watch me do all the work.
Well, look, maybe your dad was channeling the John Lennon Aunt Mimi. A guitar's all right as a hobby, but you'll never make a living at it, right?
Exactly.
Maybe he was just maybe doing the old cautionary thing. Go ahead, Bill.
All right, we're going to hit you with another one, Amy. Get ready, prepare yourself. Second Side of Abbey Road, Golden Slumbers medley.
I didn't know that song actually until recently. That was one of the ones that during when we were going through a whole bunch of songs trying to pick what we were going to play live during synthesis for our tribute song, one of the many ones that came up was actually the whole thing, the end, but like Golden Slumbers, Carry That Way at the end, like as a whole piece, because we had the orchestra, and it was just this huge, big masterpiece. Like, what if, we could tackle that whole thing? In the end, we didn't decide on it because musically, like, that would have been, I think that Across the Universe just fit us musically better in the moment. But it spoke to me in a major way, like, especially Golden Slumbers, like, the lyrics in that song, especially having just gone through some grief, like going through that, like the words, Golden Slumbers, fill your eyes. What is the next line? Like,
smiles await you in your eyes.
It's so beautiful. Like, tears just poured out of my eyes. Like, my band kind of showed it to me, like my guitar, Troy and Will, were like, what about this? And I was just like, holy crap. It just became something that I love that song. Like, it's not a song to me on its own. It's got to be with all 3 together.
Now, it's interesting, Bill, if I may, I don't know, Amy, if you've had a chance to watch the Get Back documentary on Disney we've been talking about. They actually show Paul bringing each of those as separate songs. Golden Slumber doesn't
Really?
carry that weight. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I haven't watched it yet, and I have to tell you, you are only like the 12th person to tell me over the past month, like, oh my God, you haven't seen it yet. What's wrong with you? I know, I'm next. I'm next.
We won't do any spoilers here, but suffice it to say, when you see how those two songs are brought in and how they ultimately ended up, it will likely be a big surprise to you.
Wow.
From Evanescence, we're talking to Amy Lee. Amy, I think we have time for one more. Tell us what this song means to you. George Harrison's "Here Comes the Sun."
Well, that's a beautiful song. Actually, that was on a playlist. Okay, that one. I got something about that song. When my husband and I were falling in love, I lived in LA and he lived in New York, and we just started dating, and I said, make me a playlist so I can get to know you better. So we each made it was CDs back then. So we each burned each other a CD and gave it to each other to get to know each other, and that was on there. Listen to that song still takes me back to that time in I don't know, 2006, 5, something. Yeah. And it was cool because I was just coming out of a hard breakup, and the lyrics are like, "Here comes the sun, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter, but it's all right. It's gonna be okay. You're headed into a new chapter." Oh, that's sweet.
These stories are they're beautiful. They're pretty.
I know.
Much
I can't believe I've had one for everything. You're gonna hit me with something next. I'm like, I don't know what that song is.
I want to make sure your fans are aware that the tour, which you had to stop in December, and you're on tour with Hailstorm, and we had Lizzie on a couple of years ago, and so it's Evanescence and Hailstorm together, and you're going to pick it up again in Cincinnati, then Camden, New Jersey, Pittsburgh. Fans can just go to the website and they'll see. But what I'm amazed with is I looked at your tour that begins in March and runs through June. You are going to 18 different countries. 18 countries. I hope somebody told you that, because I'm looking at them going, what?
I know. I hope everything is all right by then. We have postponed that tour for 2 years now. It's the longest postponement ever. And I just have high hopes for it to finally happen. I think things are headed in the right direction. It's been so hard this past couple of years to plan a week in the future. You kind of have to just be ready to just quickly pivot. I believe we're going to be there, but in these times, it's you never really know for sure. But yes, that's not with Hailstorm. This is Within Temptation, another amazing band that I haven't had the privilege of touring with yet, but we have seen them live, and they're amazing. Lizzie and the Hailstorm guys, we got a cool long history. They love the Beatles. You should talk to her. They kind of were raised in a similar situation. Their dad's a musician, and were real influenced by music from that era. And we've connected on Beatles music before. We had a blast. Hailstorm and Evanescence touring in 2012, and that's where we really made fast friends and hit it off. And it's funny, we're just doing this again in November, December, and we all really like hanging out together, the bands and the crews of both of our parties. And so it's funny because we're in this big bubble where we can't do anything, we can't go out, we can't see anybody, we can't have guests backstage, but we can hang out together. So I was just saying,
boy, it's really important that you like the other bands on the tour.
Yes, it's so important. But I was laughing because all we want to do after all we do is work on music, all we do is play music, all we do is think about music and play on the music, and just all day. And at the end of the night, when everything's done and the crew is packing up, what do we want to do when we get together? We want to just blast music and listen to music and talk about music. So yes. We're doing that, and it's been wonderful to be with them again. Some of my favorite core memories are with them doing exactly that.
Well, Amy Lee, I have to say before we let you go, the image of you from Evanescence is bigger than life, a really dramatic figure, almost operatic rock and roll. But you are also in real life, as you said, a daughter and a sister, and you're a mom. Mm-hmm. And you made an album called Dream Too Much that was with your family, with your birth family under your own name. And I mean, was it sort of like this is going to be the side that I can't put this out as Evanescence. This is Amy Lee, and it's a different ball game.
Well, as an artist, I feel like for me, like the best thing is to keep it fresh and to do what your heart wants. Not let it become work, not let it just be a job, because that's not the point. If we wanted to have jobs and do work, like there's other things we could do. Like we're in this, we should be in this for the love of music. And, sometimes for me that means just like letting my mind go crazy and do something totally different. I did some score work over the past decade and made a family kids album, kids album with my family. Becoming a mom was a big chapter change, like in my headspace and everything else.
That's a pretty big thing.
Yeah, and I wanted to let that kind of take precedent over anything else and become the biggest thing. I don't know if I'm going to be a rock star anymore or anything else. Like, let's do this for a minute. And what my artist heart wanted when I had a 2-year-old was to make goofy songs and kind of revert to my own childhood and experience that with them and sort of connect the dots between my growing up and being a mom and him growing up. So it kind of all started with my dad's 60th birthday. Happened at that time, and like for his birthday present, I gave him studio time, because as much as he has taught me and influenced me as a musician, he's never been a professional recording studio besides, like DJ radio stuff. Never in a recording studio to go make music. So I was like, hey, Dad, I booked us a session. We're going to go spend a week and like record a few songs, with a producer friend. And we went in and we did 3 songs with me and my dad and his brother, Tom, my uncle, and had a blast. And then just turned it into a whole album because I had so much, and opened it up to my family, and it became all my siblings. And man, you never know what's going to happen in life. And we captured our that thing that I kind of talked about, like we used to just jam. Like part of me growing up in my family was just like Dad would make us everybody grab an instrument and jam. Much of that was Beatles, a lot of 60s music. I mean, 60s, 70s, Neil Young, Beatles, Beach Boys, whatever. And so we put some of that on there, some original stuff. But,
well, all right, that's what I've been leading you. That's what I've been leading you to, Amy. I need you to now take on your father's job for a minute and be the disc jockey and introduce the Beatles song that you did with your family on the Dream Too Much album. Will you do that for us now?
Okay, I will.
Go.
Thanks for having me. So here it is from the 2016 album, Dream Too Much, Amy Lee and her family. Hello, Goodbye by the Beatles.
You say yes, I say no. You say stop, and I say go.